Much. Okay, let's get stuck in. So we've got 1 hour to get through some a fairly large amount of work. So I hope you have a notepad and a pen. You'll need both of those things on the session tonight, whether if you're watching live or if you're watching it on record. And I see Judith has just tuned in there. Judith, check out the notebook. This is one that Judith gave me a little while ago. Awesome stuff. So we are here today to talk about goal setting for 2020. And as we go through, it's going to be relaxed. It's not going to be too kind of serious, but there is serious work still to be done. I'm going to work through a process that I developed about a year ago, just over a year ago, called the Learn and Lean. And what this is, it's very different very different. It's a bit different to most goal setting systems in that we're going to be looking back first. We're going to be reviewing the last year, the last 12 months. So looking back at 2019 and seeing what we can take from that, the lessons that we can take from that, from the good stuff and from the not so good stuff, and actually apply those lessons going forwards into 2020. Look at how we can use them to influence, to inspire, and actually to inform some of the goals that we set up for ourselves that we deem to be important. Now, I don't know about you, but I've certainly fallen foul of a very common trap at this time of year that you set yourself up with a big goal. You say, right, this is what I'm going to do. And it's actually quite a meaningless goal. Well, it hasn't really been thought out properly. And you end up just starting off and kind of losing focus, losing sight of the real objective quite quickly. And typically what happens is you end up just going back to where you were, just a bit more frustrated perhaps. And I've been 20 years in the fitness industry for a while. Yeah, just about 20 years. And it's almost like a running joke that the gyms are full in January, or at least the beginning of January. By the end of the month and into February, they're back to the normal, fairly sporadic attendance from most members. Now, this isn't just about fitness and weight loss goals, this webinar tonight, but I probably will come back to using some examples of that, because I imagine that that's probably something that many of you watching will at least in part be interested in. So, or will be looking at setting goals around. But this works for anything that you're looking at doing. And the same thing is true whether it's around personal finances, running a business, challenges, studies, relationships, even whatever the goals are. If you set off without having done the work and really understanding what it is that is the higher level objective, what you're really going to get out of it, then it's very difficult to stay connected to the goal. And so that's partly the reason why I want to encourage you to work through this system that I'm going to be going through this evening, called, as I said, the Learn and Lean. Now, my printer has given up the ghost. It seems to be okay on the back page there, but it's cut out all the all the blue headings here, so I've filled them in pen. But this is actually a 12-page document that I'm going to be working through with you this evening. And you're not going to do the whole thing. You could spend days doing this, and it's a great thing to do as an ongoing project. Maybe take a few stabs at it over half an hour here, 20 minutes there, an hour there perhaps. But we're going to make a really good start on it this evening. And I'm going to send you a copy of this. So you'll actually have this at the end of the session. I'm going to email it over to you, probably not tonight, but tomorrow. I'll make sure you get a copy of this in your hands. I recommend printing it out. Yes, save the rainforest and all that. It's very important. Don't print things out unnecessarily. Yes, I get that. But this is important. This is going to be an important document for you. You can, of course, take the information from here and put it into a journal if you prefer to do that. But this is a really, really useful thing to have printed out and written on in hand, so that you can actually refer back to it and just pick it up and look at and continue to do the work as you move forward. So I'll be sending you this after the session tonight. One more thing that I'll be doing at the end of tonight for full transparency. We're going to dive straight into the content in just a moment. This is 99% content, this session, but I want to take advantage of you in some respects. So I'm going to use that 1%. I feel like I'll have earned the opportunity to do this and tell you a little bit about a new program that I have coming up in the new year. Starts on January 6th. And I'll be telling you a little bit about that at the end of the session. So we're going to get into the content now. and I'll tell you a bit about that at the end. If you choose to tune out at that point there, you don't want to listen to it, then that's fine, no problem at all. But I wanted to give you a heads up now so you don't feel like you're being hoodwinked into listening to this and then having that, it's not a sales pitch, but I want to tell you about it because I think it'll be a really useful way for many of you who are listening tonight to actually get some of this stuff and really put it into practice with some support along the way. So that will be a very small piece at the end of the session tonight. But let's get stuck into this. I was actually going through some stuff for Momentum, which is my event in Ireland, in just 2 weeks' time, actually. And I was just redesigning the workbook. So this is the workbook that we used at Momentum last year, or this year rather, in January. And on the back of it, I put my favorite Jim Rohn quote, which says, "Don't set goals for what you will achieve, but for what they will make of you to achieve them." And this is actually also the quote that kicks off this set of notes here. Don't set goals for what you'll achieve, but rather for what it will make of you in order to achieve them. This is something I want you to really hold in mind as you go into the new year, as you go into the new decade, 2020. This is about you evolving, you becoming somebody else, the next version, the next evolution of you, a better version, no doubt, of you. Nobody has aspirations to turn into a not better, a worse version of themselves. So we want to kind of evolve, we want to get better. My own personal goals, and I'll share some of those with you as we go through tonight, they're not just to get incrementally better. I'm looking for step changes in 2020. I'm looking for stepping up to another level in several areas of my life. And that means doing things differently, a different approach. But the key with this is that I need to become a different person. I can't just stay the same. I need to evolve in order to enable that to happen. So I want you to keep coming back to this idea that this isn't just about being you, but with, you know, maybe less weight or more fitness or better relationships or a better job or business or whatever it is. It's not just about staying the same and having more. It's about changing yourself mentally as well as physically and becoming this new, higher evolved person. The person you want to be, the person you almost kind of wish you were more of. That's who you need to become in order to achieve these goals. And that's way more important who you become, I think, than things that you actually achieve. Chances are, if you've got these things aligned, then you'll actually end up achieving the thing because of becoming the person that you want to be. They do tend to work hand in hand. So what we're going to do is actually some work on the session tonight. This isn't just about me talking at you for 60 minutes. I'll be quiet for a few moments as we go through, and I'm going to encourage you to actually do some of the work, hence the need for a pen or a notepad and, pen and paper or notepad. We're going to start off by looking back over the last 12 months and kind of talking a little bit about some of the, before we go there, we'll talk about some of the different types of goal that I want to encourage you to think about, and then we're going to go back over the last 12 months, so just following this system through. So first of all, there are 3 types of goal. So write these 3 things down. First of all, you've got your achievement goals. And this is what most of us think about when we think about setting goals. We want to maybe lose weight. We want to run faster. We want to get a different job. We want to start a business or earn more money or save more money. Whatever those goals are, they tend to be achievement goals. And we often put them into this SMART framework there: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time framed. That's fine. So this is one type, but it's not all the goals that we'll be talking about tonight. So achievement goals, that's the first type. So you're probably already familiar with those, and we'll be coming back to those as we get into the lean in to 2020 section of the session tonight. The second type of goal is the doing goal. Also, sometimes I call this the process goal as well. These are the things that you're actually going to do that'll be different possibly to what you're doing now, that are going to enable you to get to where you want to be. So again, health, fitness, weight loss goals. If you want to lose weight, then one of those doing goals might be checking the labels on the things that you buy and deciding not to buy anything or to eat anything that has more than 30 grams of sugar during the course of a day. We did the sugar challenge a little while ago. Many of you were on that. And so 30 grams of sugar a day was a really good standard to try and stick to. And that might be one of the things that you do. You physically check the labels and you make decisions based on what the label tells you as to whether or not you're going to eat that food. And that's a doing thing. It's not the outcome, but it's one of the things that will help you get to that outcome, whether that's more energy, more focus, more mental concentration, better concentration, or indeed weight loss. You might be able to hear that in the background. It sounds like someone's pouring from a 5-litre jug of water. It's my dog drinking at the moment. So she's obviously had a busy day. Now she's thirsty, as am I. Another really classic doing process goal rather, drinking more water. Any health, fitness, weight loss goals you might have, a great process is to just drink more water. That's not enough by itself. We need to be very specific, as we'll get into later on. But a process might be to have a glass of water when you wake up first thing in the morning. So there's another doing goal that you might decide that is going to be important to you and link into some of your other achievement goals. Okay, then we also have being goals. And these are my favorites, right? Because these tie in with the whole Jim Rohn, don't set goals for what you want to achieve, but rather for who you will need to become in order to achieve them goals. So this is about what's going to be different about you. For me personally, one of the goals that I have is around my speaking business and continuing what I've done over the last 2 years, which, by the way, this channel that you're watching it on is my George Speaks channel. And what I've been doing for the last 2 years, literally since January 1st, 2018, I've been recording a short video of just a few minutes long every single day since then to log what I've done, the progress that I've made in order to move myself forwards towards this goal. So trust me, this is a big goal. I've been committed to this for 2 years, over 2 years, but I've been logging my process for the last 720 odd videos I think I've done so far. I've no idea. I think I've missed one somewhere. I seem to be one behind, but I can't see where it is on the links there. But being goals, all right, who do I need to become in order to step change my results? Because I've had some setbacks. It's not been plain sailing. I've had some successes in 2019, but nowhere near what I want or what I need in order to make this into a sustainable part of my business. And for me to really feel like I'm fully established as a professional motivational speaker. So what needs to happen? Well, I need to increase my confidence, not necessarily just the confidence on the stage, but I need to become a more confident person like off stage as well when I'm talking about what I deliver, the results that I can have, the impact that I can have. That's where I need to be more confident. I need to step outside of myself and stop holding myself back. So I know who I need to become in order to achieve that goal. And it's not going to be easy, but then this is about challenge and it's about achieving something that is not an easy thing to achieve. That's important for me. It's not necessarily going to be important for everybody to have a level of challenge that just scares the bejesus out of you. So let's have a look. Step one, this is where we start rolling up our sleeves and getting stuck in to the nitty gritty. We're going to look back over 2019 and kind of get a year on the page. So I want you to just think back over the year, maybe getting your phone and rolling through the calendar of your phone, or if you have a kind of physical calendar, or maybe kind of after this, go through some Facebook or other social media feeds and see some of the things that you've been up to in the last 12 months. And just write down, no detail at the moment, just write down some of the headlines, some of the stories, some of the things that you've done this year, the good and the not so good. It's about learning, and learning doesn't just come. In fact, it rarely comes just from the successes. It usually comes from the things that don't go the way we want them to go. So the first thing to do is just get a blank sheet of paper and just start writing them down. Maybe look at the first quarter of the year, then the second quarter, third and the fourth quarter, kind of break it down. You don't have to get everything down here. Okay, I'm going to stop talking in a moment just for a couple minutes. You don't have to get everything down. But what I do want you to do is to start thinking about some of the real standout moments or standout things that have happened to you, the big setbacks and the big achievements. And just write down, like ran my first 10K, for example, or didn't get the job that I was going for, as a kind of a good thing and maybe a not so quite so good thing. So that's the level of detail. No detail at all, just the highlights, the headline stories of some of the things that have happened this year. And then we're going to look at sucking out some lessons. So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes. It's just gone in 2018. So when we get to 2020, I'll come back in again and I'll stay here. So you'll still see me, but I'll be writing stuff. and we'll come back. And if you've got any questions during that time, then just leave them in the comment chat, and I'll get back to them at the end. Okay, 2 minutes, off we go. Another minute or so. Oh my word. Tell you what, I did a daily update earlier. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I will do shortly. I was talking about this webinar that I was doing, and one of the challenges that I've got, one of the things that I definitely know that I need to work on this year, is just being comfortable in that moment of silence. So if I've said, right, 2 minutes, get on with some work, just to be comfortable and confident, just to be quiet and let you get on with the work. Granted, it's a little harder doing it like on a webinar because I can't actually see you. So I'm just assuming that you're doing the work and you're writing stuff down. But I struggle with this in a live, from a stage as well. So this has been something I've taken from this year, from 2019, and the things I've done, even though they've gone well, I've still managed to take some lessons from that. I think, well, actually, this is an area, this is a small area that I know I could do better at. And I just need to get the timer on it and just stop talking for that period of time. So I felt, okay, that was 2 minutes. I can do it. I've got this. So that's the first thing. And of course, you want to get everything down in just 2 minutes, right? If you're into journaling and you log things, then that'll be much easier to go back over your journals and have a look at what you've done. But chances are, if you're trying to do this off the top of your head, you'll have got maybe 10% of the things that you've done this year that were sort of standout stories. I mean, if you imagine just getting one thing a month, right? That's still 12 things. You might not even have got 12 things in those 2 minutes. So definitely worthwhile going back and working on this, because this is, again, an ongoing process. Say the next couple of weeks, this is a great opportunity, a great period of time to be doing this as we're sort of getting into the end of this year and into the next year. So don't feel like you've finished that bit and now you don't need to come back to it. Definitely come back to this and continue highlighting it. You know what? The other thing with this, I think I might have mentioned it, but just in passing there, and you've got to do this without judgment. It's really easy to look back at failures, think setbacks, adversities, things that you've had to struggle over, maybe you haven't managed to overcome yet, and sort of beat yourself up about the fact that you struggle with it and that you failed. And that's not the objective of this, right? It's great to reflect on the things that have gone well, but the only way we can take positive lessons to lean into the future with is if we journal without judgment. And we write these things down and we just look like we're observing, we're looking down at somebody else almost. It's us, but it's from up here. And we're taking a look at that and we're saying, okay, well, this happened. And it's the facts. Take away the drama from the data. Separate the two things out, the information and the emotion. Take them apart and just focus on the data. Just focus on the information, the facts, without adding in the stories about what it means about who you are and what's wrong with you or anything else like that. Just get the information out there first, because that's the only way we can learn. You put judgment into the mix, stops you from learning anything useful from that particular process. So Second part, and this is step 2. Now we've got some ideas of the things that happened to us during the story highlights, if you will. We now need to look at, well, what do they mean to us? Like, why were they important? What was it about them that meant something? I used a couple of examples there of, or not just what they meant to us, but kind of what lessons do we take from them. So take the 10K, for example. Like if you ran your first 10K, and I know some people that may have been an actual thing that you did this year, if that's something you worked towards, you built towards, and you overcame yourself in the process because you maybe didn't believe that you'd ever be able to do that, and hey, here you are now running a 10K, like what did that mean to you? Like reflect on that. Really, really enjoy that process of reflection. Like, how did it feel? Like what did it mean? What did it say about you that you were the kind of person that was able to do that? And get some of those things down. And conversely, with the things that maybe didn't go so well, like I used the example of going for a job interview and not getting the job. Again, that might be, just as an example, might be something that actually happened to some of you if you're watching this. So you didn't get the job. Like, well, what does that mean? What lessons can you take from that? How do you respond afterwards? And maybe it took a while to overcome the disappointment and to acknowledge that, yeah, I was disappointed. I felt like I deserved it. It just wasn't my day, though. I didn't get the job. But actually, after a week or two, I was a bit more philosophical, and actually something better came along. And so I realized, actually, I was resilient. I didn't stop looking. I didn't stop trying. I found that I had a level of resilience that I didn't know that I had. So there's something we can take away from that adversity, and we kind of lean into it and find out what comes out. Now, if we beat ourselves up about it, then chances are we're not going to get to the levels of getting those kinds of lessons. So go back now over just maybe 2 or 3 of the things that you've written down already. And I want you to write down next to them or on a new page, what are some of the things that you learned from that? Why was it important to you? Why did you pick it out as a highlight? What was significant about it? And as I said, what can you draw out from that process as well? Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to spend some time doing this. It's 2025, so 2027, maybe 2028, 2.5 minutes. I'll come back in again. Off you go. How are we getting on with that then? Hopefully you've got some things down, some reasons why they were significant, either achievements or standout things that meant something to you because they didn't go the way that you wanted them to. And hopefully you've got some lessons written down there as well. And this is really where we start bridging between the past and the future, because lessons aren't just things, hopefully anyway, they're not just things that, well, that was interesting, I learned something about that. They're things that we can then apply as we go forwards and we start to lean in. So this is the first time we're starting to move from the past and across to the future. So this is really key, because like, if you've been in this situation before where January comes around, you set some goals and you say this is going to be the year, this is going to happen this year, and you throw yourself into a diet, or you throw yourself into the workout program, or you throw yourself into a new period of study or whatever it is, and then you crash and burn after just a few days or weeks. Like, if you've done that before, if you've been on that cycle, that roller coaster in the past, maybe several times, then you need to learn some lessons from that. Like, what was it that didn't work for you? And it probably wasn't the diet, by the way. It wasn't that you were on the wrong diet. There was something up here that didn't click, that you weren't able to actually get yourself into the groove and turn this into these new ways of eating, of living, of working, of training, of exercising, of being active, and new lifestyle habits, turning them into habits that were unbreakable. That didn't happen. Otherwise, you would have just continued to got those results, right? And you wouldn't have been on this cycle anymore. You just got the results. So what can you learn from the last time that happened, or any of these cycles that you know this about yourself? Every time I do that, I always end up failing. Or every time I do that, I just get distracted. Whenever I decide I'm going to start doing something, after a week or two, I get bored. Like, what can you learn from that? Don't just put a label on it. Like, take some lessons from that. There's one of the things I'll be talking about in Momentum in Athlone in January is one of the things that I've talked about quite a lot with some of my groups, certainly with my coaching clients this year, that I've been learning a lot more about this year from the world of positive psychology. And this is what they call the WHOOP goal setting system. So we're not using that today, but there are elements of this into it. I hadn't heard of WHOOP when I wrote this Learn and Lean, but now I can see how it overlays very, very nicely. And what the WHOOP stands for is the wish, the outcome, the obstacles, and the plan. So the wish, that's the goal. The outcome is the ultimate meaning, the reason why this is important. So we've just ticked that one off as well. We will come to that when we talk about the goals in just a second. But then we've got the obstacles. And the obstacles, they're not like, oh, well, Brexit, that we don't know what's going to be happening after Brexit happens. And there's things that are going to be potentially obstacles for us in different areas of our life. But actually, no, this refers to, and I refer to, the obstacles that are in here. Like, what do you know you tend to do? What are your natural tendencies? And if you can identify what some of those things are, then you can start looking at putting a plan in place to overcome them. Like, I know that after a couple of weeks, I start to get bored with my diet. Right, then you need something that's going to stop you from getting bored with your diet, whether that's support, accountability, maybe some new recipes, maybe somebody to buddy up with, maybe you need somebody to send you a new recipe every week, just something that's going to stop that from happening, or at least reduce the chances of it happening. So this is the lesson that you take from things that have happened in the past and move forwards into the future. Maybe it's from a good thing, like running your first 10K. Right? What's the lesson that you can take from that? That you know that actually you work well when you've got structure, when you've got a plan, when you've got a definite goal and target to aim for, then you can just immerse yourself in that and just do it. And maybe that's the thing that you take over into the new year, that you need to set some goals up around specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-framed goal, these achievement goals, because having that framework, that system, it allows you to kind of work towards something, to fail with confidence that you're not going to get every single run right, but you're still going to be building towards this final thing, and you're going to overcome yourself in the process. Maybe you're going to run faster, or maybe you're going to run further, or you're going to do a different terrain, like you're going to run a cross country or an obstacle course, or whatever it is. I'm just using running here as a goal because I know I've done a lot of running in my life, so I kind of it's easy to talk about that, I guess. But like, that this works for you. So set a goal up that you learned those lessons. Set another goal up that allows you to achieve and to feel good about yourself, and to build your own sense of confidence with that security of being on that system. Hopefully that makes some sense. But that's like step 2 and step 2.5. Take the lessons from the things that you've identified. Moving into step 3, this is where we lean in and set some of these goals. So the key with this, as I said, is to set meaningful goals, right? Like I'm so excited about 2020. I have so many goals, and I know that one of the things that I'm going to need to work hard on is not trying to do it all in one go, like trying to get stuck into it all right off the, as we hit the ground on Wednesday or whenever New Year's Day is. I forget what day it is today sometimes. I've got so many things in my mind that I want to achieve and I want to do, and I just can't wait to get started. But I know that it would be a big mistake to try and do it all in one go, right? Because you can get overwhelmed when that happens, and maybe you've experienced that as well. That you start trying to do all of it in one go, and you just start feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and you just stop doing it. Like, you just stop. It just doesn't. You don't get that continuation, and you end up going back to where things were previously and don't do anything. So the goals that you're looking at setting up for the year, maybe you set a couple up for the first quarter, the first 3 months of the year, and then maybe you've got some goals that you want to get cracking with. In July, halfway through the year, you're going to get stuck into these goals, and that's okay to do that. Right? You don't have to start with trying to achieve everything right from day one. Be mindful of trying to do too much in one go, because this is about one other thing there. Maybe one of the goals you set is a kind of a step goal to the next step, So maybe you have a big weight loss or fitness goal, or even a business goal, like you want to double your revenue, for example. Like, don't set out from day one to double your revenue. Set out from day one to, in the next quarter, to add 20% onto your revenue, or whatever is reasonable and realistic for you. So think about how you can break this down into something that doesn't overwhelm you and just allows you to get stuck into and actually feel, as we get into kind of the reasons why, the ultimate outcome, the benefits of these goals, has to be meaningful to you, but it also has to be something that's, it fires you up, but it's realistic as well. These are the keys. Again, if you've been here before, where you've set big goals up, you've got all excited New Year's Day, and then you've burnt out and you got overwhelmed, then don't make that mistake again. Like, a different approach. Do something different rather than doing what you've done before, maybe several times, and doesn't work. You've got to take a different approach if you want a different result. Okay, so think about different areas of your life. And I'm going to give you some kind of different areas here that you may have seen this before, various kind of web of life diagrams, but think about family and relationships, goals that you have there, health and fitness. I'd include weight loss in that as well, adventure and experiences, career or business if you work for yourself and you run your own business, and personal development as well. And within that, for me, I include study. So one of my goals next year is to study more. Certainly, I lots of lessons around study this year. I start taking lots of online courses, and I really got into that, and I learned a lot about what I need to do in order to find the time to do that, because I wasn't fitting it in during the day. So I had to get up 45 minutes earlier every day in order to fit in 45 minutes of study on a daily basis to get through the course in the time frame that I need to get through it in. So I learned about process. I learned about organization and structure. And I can put this forward into the new year, and study is one of the areas that I definitely want to be doing more of, and I will be doing more of in 2020. So now's the time, again, for you to spend a couple of minutes just headline stuff, writing down some areas, some things that you want to achieve in 2020. What are some of the goals? Don't worry about the specifics or how it's going to happen at this point. Just start writing down some of the goals that you want to achieve or want to work towards in 2020. 2 minutes. It's 20:37 now. 20:40. I'll come back in again and we'll see what we've got. Move on to the next step. Okay, let's move this on to the next section, or the next step rather, which is hopefully you've got some goals written down, some ideas of things that you want to work towards and achieve in 2020. The next step is to connect the what to the why. Like, what is it you want to achieve? Why do you want to achieve it? Why is it important? Sorry, I'm being, got my little dog here, Tarka. She wants to get in the action as well. Tarka, say hello. Say hello. Not sure why she's decided now she wants to cuddle. Danny, get. Go on, puppy. Danny, go. Good girl. Good girl. Sorry about that. So if you've got some goals written down, like they must be meaningful to you. There must have be a reason why you've decided to put them on your list. That these are something I want. This is something I want to work towards. So going back and just reflecting again on that WHOOP system that I mentioned earlier, the positive psychology stuff, wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. Like, what is the outcome? If you want to lose weight, that's the wish. What's the outcome? The outcome is what it means to you. Like, what would it allow you to do? What would it say about you to become the kind of person that does this? And what would it mean to you? Like, why is it important? What is not achieving that goal stopping you from doing at the moment? Have a think about some of the next level outcomes of achieving that goal. Same thing with running a 10K, maybe running a 10K in a certain time. Like, you want to get under an hour for 10K. Like, why is that important? Like, we often set these goals up, say, all right, I want to run a marathon. But why? Like, why is it important? And there's a reason. It's not to say you shouldn't do it, but there's a reason that is often on a deeper level that we don't think about. And this is the time to think about it, to bring it up to your conscious awareness and to be clear on the reasons why this is important to you. Maybe running a marathon means that you have to overcome a lifetime of beliefs that you're not the kind of person who would ever be able to do that. Like, people laugh and they say, no, you'd never be able to do that. Well, maybe this is you saying, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove to myself that this is something that I can do. And I'm going to change my life in the process for the better. Maybe that running a marathon means that it's going to be an opportunity for you to kind of inspire your kids or inspire other people around you. So if I can do this, anybody can do it. Whatever it is, write it down. What is the emotion that you're likely to get from it? What's the feeling that you want as a result of achieving that goal, or just working towards it as well? Because you don't have to wait until you've run a marathon or you've run a 10K or you've lost the weight in order to feel a certain way. You get that along the way as well, because you're making progress. You're moving closer towards something. The end is arbitrary, right? Running a marathon. Why not an ultra marathon? Why not run the marathon faster? Why lose 2 stone? Why not lose 2.5 stone? Like, there's always going to be an arbitrary element to this. So we don't want to pin a particular feeling, like happiness, for example, on getting to a certain level of achievement. So we want to be able to get this feeling as we go, as we make progress towards it as well. But still, what is the ultimate outcome, or some of the ultimate outcomes from achieving that goal? So just again, let's take 90 seconds now till 20:44 on my clock here, to write down some of the reasons why this is important to you. Okay, there's one other area that I want you to write some notes on for this as well, have a little think about, and that's the who. Like, who would you need to become? What would need to change about you in order to achieve that goal? Um, so ultimately, eventually, what you'll have here is the goal, why it's important, and who you need to become. Okay, I'll show you the template for this that I'll send you is this. And you can see I filled out the first couple there. And I'm going to kind of tell you what these are. And then I'm going to give you another minute or so just to write down the who, just scribble a couple ideas about who you would need to become in order to achieve the goals that you've set yourself. So one of the goals that I've set is to deliver 20 paid speaking engagements in 2020. And it's not just because there's a nice ring with 20 and 2020. It's a kind of a particular number that's built up over the course of what I've been doing for the last couple of years. So 20 paid speaking engagements. Now, why is that important? Like, why do I want to be doing this? So what I've written down here is I want to share my message with more people, have more impact, and create a sustainable business doing something that I really, really enjoy. Like, I love being on a stage. I love this. I love webinars. I love presenting. I love sharing my message. I love my writing. I love my audio stuff. I love my communities, online stuff. But you know what? One of my favorite things to do is just to be on a stage or in a room with live, warm bodies and present and feel that nowness, that connection that I get with people when I'm in that environment. So that I love doing it. And I believe that for me, it's a great way for me to share my message, get it out there to more people and have more impact. Like in my life, that's what I want to do. I want to make a difference. So that's why that goal is important to me. And 20 is the next step. It won't be my final step, but for 2020, that's where I want to get to. Now, the who do I need to become in order to achieve that? What I've written for that is I need to become I've used quotation marks, a professional speaker. Doesn't mean I have to be all stuffy and boring, but what it does mean is that there are certain things that I need to do that will bring me into my own definition of what I think a professional speaker is when I see it other professional speakers who are already doing what I want to be doing. And I'm not doing those things. I'm not the professional speaker that I want to be. So this is a who I need to become. I need to be more confident, mentioned that earlier. I need to be more organized, more structured as well with some of the content that I deliver. So there's things there that I know that I need to work on with myself. They're not just going to happen overnight. I need to work on these things. And that's the next step for me. So that's the who. That's the who I need to become. But a second goal I've written down here, and this is the first time I've actually shared this with anybody. So here we go. It's connected with the first one, but it's very, very different and certainly something that scares the bejesus out of me. And that is to work towards delivering a stand-up comedy gig at the end of the year, 2020. That's the goal. And I've got some specifics around that as well. But why is it important? It's the challenge. It's like I'm incrementally getting better at my my speaking, my delivery, but actually this would be a step change. It would be something completely different. As I said, it scares me. It makes me feel very uncomfortable even talking about it and sharing this goal with other people. But I know how important this part of the process is to me achieving the goal. It's out there now. It's going to happen. And you're all invited. The way it will also feed into my other goals, the development of a new skill and a step change in my process, as I mentioned. Who do I need to become? More confident, skilled, because comedy isn't just something that you just get funny at all of a sudden. You need to work at this. I've done a bit of research in it. I need to be more resilient because there will be many of the things that I do that just won't be funny, and I know that. And I need to detach my ego from the process as well. And just that's part of the resilience piece. But these are all things that I know that I'm going to find challenging and I need to overcome and become this new person, this new evolved version of myself. And I hope to be sitting here in front of you at 29th of December 2020 and sharing some successes on that note. But this is the next thing for you to do, is to write down what it is, who it is you want to become or you need to become, that you believe. What are some of the qualities, the characteristics and the strengths that you need to develop in order to achieve those goals? Just give you a minute to do that so we can move on to the next step. Okay, final step. Step 5. Actually, if you haven't been writing down the numbers of these steps, it might help if I quickly whiz back over them before we get into this final step. So we had number 1, your year on a page. So this is just writing down your story headlines, looking back for the last 12 months. Step 2, what it meant to you. What was the meaning? What was the significance of those headlines? The good and the bad. I've got down here step 2.5, which is taking the past into the future. This is the lessons that you learn. We kind of mash them up together. Step 3 is to lean in and set goals. So leaning in to the new year, to 2020, and actually setting up some goals there. And then step 4 is connecting the what to the why. It's connecting the goal to the reason why it's important to you to achieve that. Step 5 is about setting up your doing goals. So the final part of this process, nothing happens until something happens. Remember I said you need to be doing something different if you want a different result. If you're on the right trajectory already to achieve those goals, then just continue doing what you're doing. But be aware, just doing what you're already doing, even if it's working, doesn't mean it's always going to work. Eventually, it's quite feasible that you will plateau. You will find that you end up not getting the increase in results as you were previously. So be prepared for that, and that's where you need to change it. Ideally, changing it before that happens. It's like in training terms, what you do is you periodize your training. You have a training phase, and you get results. And then what normally happens is you hit a plateau, but you don't get the plateau. You take a recovery week, and then you change your training, and you do something different, and you shock your body, and it continues to go up. You would normally hit a plateau. You take a recovery week, and you go back up again. So you get this almost like blip, blip, blip increase. And that's the same thing with your goals as well. You won't just keep getting the same results if you keep doing the same thing. But if it's working for now, you're happy with the results and it's sustainable, then continue to do it. Otherwise, we need to set up some doing goals. And this is where we can get really specific with lots and lots of W's. Yes, the W's. So we need to know what you're going to do. You need to know where you're going to be when you do it and when you do it. So they're the first 3, the what, the when, and the where. I use the example of drinking a glass of water. Let's say one of the things you want to do is to get healthy in the new year. Well, guess what? Drinking more water, getting better hydrated is a great way of getting healthier. It's a great way of having more energy, of setting your day up in the right way. If you're drinking water in the morning, it's a great way to lose weight as well. It's an important thing. You want to make sure that you're properly hydrated. Obviously, there's other things you need to do as well, but this is one thing. But it's not enough to just drink more water, right? You need to be specific. So get up in the morning and have a glass of water. First thing, as soon as you get up, by the kitchen sink. They're the first 3 W's. We've also got the why and the who. Like, why is it important? And the who else, sorry. Why is it important? Connect it to the goal that the why that you already set up a moment ago. That's the 4th W. And the who, or who else rather, is who else could possibly be involved here? Who else could get in your way? And who else can you bring on side? So for me, for some of my goals, I'll be bringing in mentors, I'll be joining other communities, I'll be seeking assistance from other people as well in order to help me achieve the goals that I want to achieve. And there's going to be times where I'm probably going to be away more. And so I need to make sure that I've got my family on board with this idea as well. This is an important goal for me. It's an important goal for all of us as well, because this could have an impact on our family. So I need to make sure that I've paved the way to enable this to happen. So if you've got people in your life who are great cheerleaders, but maybe also people who are potentially saboteurs, then you need to make sure that you've got this identified up front. So write down the who else as well. So very quickly, pick one goal, pick one thing that you're going to do, that you're going to commit to doing, not just, I could do that. What are you going to commit to right now? To me and everybody else who's watching this webinar this evening, what are you going to commit to? And I want you to write down what you're going to do, specifically what. Not just drink a pint glass or drink a half pint glass. Be very, very specific. When are you going to do it? And where will you be when you do it? Get those 3 down first. But then also write down, maybe there's nobody, but maybe there is somebody else who is going to be a part of that process. Somebody else who will either support you or that you need to be mindful of, because they may well end up being an inadvertent saboteur, maybe with the best of intentions, but sometimes people just try to hold you back without meaning to, because it means that they're getting left behind. And this is often the case again with weight loss. If we start changing our habits, changing who we are and what we're doing, people can feel threatened by that, and they can start feeling like they just need to kind of draw you back because they don't want to lose you as a friend. So we need to have this, maybe have some of these conversations with those people. We won't get into all that stuff now, but first of all, identify who these people are who are going to be important in the process. So 1 minute to finish that little piece off there. The what, the where, the when, and the why. We've already written that down, and the who. Okay, hopefully you've got at least one thing written down there, something that you're ready to commit to. Like I said, you've done some work tonight. Hopefully you've done a good bit of work tonight, but the process isn't done. If you take this back and go over it again, don't forget I'm going to send you these notes, but if you just go back over what we've covered tonight and just keep working on those story headlines from 2019. What were some of the significant moments? What were some of the lessons? What have you taken away from those? What do they mean to you? What can you lean into the new year and the new goals with those lessons that you've taken from there? So that's the first thing. You can keep on going through that process. It's a really cathartic process to review, analyze, but without that judgment. Remember, just keep looking back over some of the things that you've achieved and some of the challenges that you've had and what you've taken away from those positive lessons. That's the absolute core of resilience, by the way. It's being able to bounce back and grow more strong as a result of the adversity rather than to stay down. So whatever happens, whatever things don't go your way, because I feel like I'm the master of resilience at the moment, because not just because I've been studying it a lot this year, but because I've had many setbacks. I'll tell you what, trying to become a professional speaker, it ain't plain sailing. It's not. It's more rejection than anything else. Things not happening, things not going your way, things not working out, things just fizzling out, and just getting on with it, not quitting, just getting back into it. So the lessons that you can take about the process and about yourself as well. What can you learn from what's happened in 2019? Continue to work through that part of the process. Continue with that. Next, continue with working on these goals. Start getting some detail on them. When are you going to start these goals? Like, are you going to start them? Well, I said don't start them all now, but like, which ones are you going to get cracking with straight away? Be specific with when, where, what, how, who else, all these things, the why. Get those details down and continue to work on them. Like, this isn't just a one shot, do it, goals will just happen. Like, imagine coming back to this and spending 15, 20 minutes every single day working on this, thinking about this, reviewing. The learning doesn't have to be over the last 12 months. Maybe you do this over the last week or the last month. You do it at the end of the month. You look back and you review what you've learned, what you've taken away. And you look at what you're going to do differently for the next month or the next quarter, whatever it is. Do this on a regular basis. Imagine how much more focused you would be on your goals if you were to do that. My ambition for you, my hope for you, my objectives for you are to not just one flash in the pan, being on the webinar, done the work, move forwards, or yes, that was a good idea, but that's it now. Continue with this. Don't let 2020 be a repeat of 2019, unless 2019 was an awesome year, right? If you just fantastic, everything went well, great. If it wasn't, and actually if you want to do things different and get this step change in your results, like I'm looking for in 2020, then do something different. Maybe this is one of the things that will make the difference for you. So I did promise you at the end of the session this evening, and hopefully, by the way, that was useful. I'll be sending you an email with a note back as we go as well. If you've got comments, then please do write comments in the little box there as well. And I promised you that I was going to tell you a little bit about the 30-day transformation challenge, which kicks off on January the 6th. And it is an online program. And I've created a brand new, a completely from scratch training program, which involves half-hour follow along with me video workouts and 15-minute core and stretch training workouts. I've geared this towards the beginner. Okay, I've done stacks of workouts over the years for people who are already training, people who want to kind of step it up and really jump around and kind of push themselves. Now, I've already got that stuff. So I've got those programs as well, if you prefer to have the step up stuff, but I want to gear this, I have geared this towards those of you who are perhaps just getting into exercise and maybe haven't done it for a while and they just need a bit more of a gentle approach. So still effective workouts, but it's definitely down there at the kind of the easier end. There's no impact, but it's still going to be very effective. So that's the workouts. The reason why this is called a transformation challenge isn't because I want you to, or I imagine that you're going to transform yourself physically or mentally in just 30 days, but because actually at the end of the 30 days, you will be on the trajectory to continue the good work that you've already done. So after 30 days, going forwards to the rest of the year into 2020, by the end of the year, you will be where you want to be because of what you've set up at the beginning of the year. I honestly don't believe that it's possible to transform anything in just 30 days. But what I do know, because I've seen it before and I've done it with myself, is in 30 days, you can certainly change your mindset and you can set yourself on the right trajectory. So there will be a lot of mindset work. We've got the training, we'll have a lot of mindset work, a lot of the lifestyle stuff as well, things that we don't often think about, such as relationship with mobile phones and technology and connection and communities. I'm actually taking this as a community off of Facebook, which is the first time I've done this. And I'll be putting it onto a brand new platform, which will be, it's called Mighty Networks, and it's just going to be for this particular group, this particular program. So it's going to be away from social media and into something a little bit different. But it's also going to be about support and accountability as well. There's a nutrition program as well that works with it, some meal planners, some new recipes perhaps for you to try out as well, keeping it nice and simple. But I want this to be, as I said, a starting point, a 30-day transformation challenge that you take. You start it off, you get to the end, you're not done. Okay, you'll be somewhere, but you won't be where you want to be. You'll be on the way there. And anybody who tells you that they can completely transform you in 30 days, because transformation is permanent, right? Change, you can change massively in 30 days. And I hope that many of you who do this will make big changes in 30 days. But transformation is where you take things that are new and you turn them into unbreakable, unshakable habits. And this is the key with, well, hopefully what I'll be delivering on the program. So it starts on January the 6th. The website with more information and the registration button is bygeorgeanderson.com/transformation. And I'll send this in a link to you as well. But bygeorgeanderson.com/transformation. Go and check out the website, go and have a look, see what's on there, see if it sounds like the sort of thing, if you kind of resonate with it, and if it sounds like the sort of thing that you think would work well for you. If you've got any questions about it, then just shout, just give me send me an email, send me a message, whatever. And happy to have a bit of back and forth there to answer any questions that you might have. But if you want to go ahead with it, we've got another week and a bit to go. Well, a week tomorrow. It starts a week tomorrow for Bennett. We're almost there. Then go ahead and register and get yourself set up, because there's some cool stuff happening with this program. Like I said, it's brand new. And it's part of my Boost group, my Boost community, but it's going to be on a different platform, delivered all the way through Mighty Networks. Okay. Thank you for your attention this evening. Thank you for showing up, doing the work with me. I'll be sending you a copy of this in a digital copy via email very shortly in the next, well, it'll be tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you again. If you've got any questions on anything that I've covered this evening, please do feel free to just respond to my email. Otherwise, folks, have a great rest of the Sunday evening, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.